In this lesson, we are going to get a little creative with color and textures, and we'll also learn about CS6's new alpha support for strokes and fills. In addition to that, we are also going to learn new ways that we can share styles among our open files. So let's get started. You'll see here that we have two documents that you can find in the Chapter 7 folder. One is called Color Shared Styles, and the other is Give Me Styles. If you get a Replace Fonts dialog warning, go ahead and select Maintain Appearance. Let's start with Color Shared Styles first. Let's start by selecting our first circle right here toward the bottom of the canvas. This circle has a stroke and a fill, and now we're going to look right here in the Tools panel to see the stroke and the fill, and we can also look in the Properties panel to see the stroke and the fill. You know that any object can have a solid fill or a stroke or no stroke at all. This first circle happens to have a purple fill, okay, and that's the hexadecimal number that you see popping up there. And not only that, but a texture has been added to the fill. There's a lot of textures to choose from here, and the one that was chosen for that guy is called Fiber. So I'm just going to hit Escape to close that list. Now you can determine the amount of the texture right here by changing the slider amount, okay? So I'll get that back down to around 9. Now the stroke that we have on here is not an ordinary stroke. It is a 4-point black stroke, but we have a creamy stroke. You can select all kinds of cool strokes right here from the stroke list. Alright, so you can get very creative with your objects. Now, what we just looked at are things that you've been able to do for a long time in Fireworks with your vector objects. Let's talk about some other things that you've been able to do, and also some creative ways to create color, and also work with the opacity of fills and strokes, and save styles, and work with predefined styles and share styles. Alright, so let's go over and select the next circle. Now this circle has just a white fill and a regular black stroke. Well, we know that we can go down and select any color from here, and matter of fact, if we click this little color panel, we're going to see the cool way that CS6 has expanded the colors that we see. Not only can we choose any color that we want for our fill color, but you'll also notice that CS6 has given us an opacity slider, so we can also adjust the opacity of our fill. We could do the exact same thing with the stroke if we wanted to. We could change the color of our stroke and also work with the opacity settings, as well as change the stroke weight. Alright, very good. Well, what if you want to get even more creative? Let's do that. Let's select this circle here, and for this demonstration I have opened the Styles panel. Okay, so you can get that by going to Window and Styles. And I also have the color palette open, and I would suggest that you open the color palette as well. The color palette has been expanded to do all kinds of cool things. Not only can we select color from the Adobe color picker by sliding this little color range slider up and down, you can see that we get all kinds of variations of the color that we have selected here. Alright, or we could move the color around in the Adobe color picker and then move the slider, and we get all kinds of cool and creative options for color. Not only that, but you'll notice here a tab for mixers. You can actually mix your own color or blend your own colors at any time. So a lot of really cool things that you can do for color. Well, what if you want to get even more creative than that? Well, a great place to look for creativity is the Styles panel. So right now we don't really have any styles. Right here in this drop-down list, however, we are going to see a couple of things. We are going to have access to the other Fireworks file that we have open, and that's how we'll be able to share the styles in just a few minutes. But before we do that, let's open some of these style libraries that are available with some really cool saved styles for us to choose from. Let's go here to Dark Chrome Styles, and we'll be able to select any one of these styles to apply to our fill color, or we could apply it to our stroke. It depends what we have selected. So let's choose one of these, and because our fill color was selected for this circle, you see that it automatically applied. Now some of these are super fun and cool to play with, so you might want to experiment until you find just the style that you're looking for. If you aren't happy with a dark chrome style, perhaps you could open a different style set. Maybe let's go down and choose old paper styles and select one of our paper styles instead. Very nice. Alright, well let's experiment again with the rectangles here on the bottom. So let's go back to the Styles panel and go down to Plastic Styles. There are a lot of really nice plastic styles available. Let's maybe just go with this red one right here. Alright, very nice. Once you've applied a style, you can also add to it. So let's add a stroke. Let's go here and maybe add a black stroke and bump up the stroke weight. Now we can get creative with our strokes as well, don't forget that. We can go right here and choose, let's maybe go with a charcoal textured stroke for that rectangle, and then we can deselect. Alright, let's move on to the next object, and we'll experiment now with maybe the wood styles. We'll select one of our wood styles. Very nice. Let's maybe experiment with one other one, and let's go back here and this time maybe choose a pastel style and add one of our nice pastel gradients. Alright, now let's deselect. Using styles is a great way to get some really cool creativity, but you aren't just limited to adding that creativity to your objects, you can also add really cool effects to your text. For example, fireworks is cool. I'll click here to select this text box, and this time let's see what we have available for text. We have several categories. We have corporate styles, creative styles, and web styles. Let's go with creative. And you'll see here that we have some very cool styles, some that have fills and some that have strokes and some that even have drop shadows. So let's pick your favorite text style and just click OK. Well, this particular style made my font really big, so I'm going to go right down to the Properties panel and lower the font size a little bit. Alright, now just because you add a style doesn't mean that you're stuck with it. If this style doesn't work for you, you simply go and select another style or another until you find just the style that you're looking for. Again, I'll need to adjust the font size down a little bit and then deselect, and I'll move this over just a little bit. Very nice. Well, we have one other piece of text that we'll work with. This time, instead of a creative style, let's maybe get a corporate style. Okay, I'm going to choose this very first style in the top left corner and then deselect. And by the way, if you were to get any error messages about fonts, that's maybe because I have fonts installed that you don't, and what you need to do is just replace any fonts with the fonts that you have, and then you won't have any problems. Well, now that we've talked about creating styles and adding styles, what if we have our own style that we want to add and share? Well, let's go here to the Styles panel and let's go back to the current document. Every style that we have applied so far is saved in our current document styles. That means that we can reuse any of these on any objects that we want, okay? Well, what if we already have a nice style? For example, we have these paw prints here with a nice beveled gradient, and we also have the stars. Could we save a style from one of these objects? Yes, we could. You simply select the object, maybe I'll select this paw print, and then let's go to the Styles panel, to the panel menu, and click here and just choose New Style. We will give our style a name, and then we can decide what properties we want to save. Well, we'll save all of that, and now let's click OK. Now what we can do is actually go over to our other document and get these styles that are available in this document and see if we can use them in the other one. Okay, let's do that right here. Give me styles. Let's go here and notice that our default styles panel doesn't have anything in it. Well, let's go find our other document and see if we can't borrow some of their styles. So right here in this drop down list, I'll click this guy, and lo and behold, here are the styles that are available in the other document. To apply any of these styles, you'll simply select an object and then click the style that you'd like to apply. Select the object and then apply the style. We'll do the same for text. So I'll select Jack, go over and apply a style to Jack, and now you can see how easy it'll be to share our styles very consistently across all of our documents. Just for fun, let's see if we can apply a style to a bitmap object. Let's select the little dog here, and remember our paper texture. Let's see what happens when we apply that. Kind of a little crazy looking for this image, but as you can see, it is possible to apply a style to a JPEG or raster graphic. Thanks for joining me for this Adobe Creative Suite 6 Design and Workflow training. I'm Penny LaLiberty. You can find out more about me on adobecertifiedinstructor.net. And before I close, I would like to thank Christopher Granger, a former Dreamweaver student and a brilliant graphic artist, for his help in many of the graphic elements that were used in these videos, and also for the Big City Pet Sitters logo. On behalf of Total Training, I'm Penny LaLiberty. Thanks for watching.